channel. That's always a pleasure. Fapster, thank you for coming on in. Hi, Jen A. Hi, Cedric. How you doing, man? Otis, good to see you. And Aaron, thanks for joining us, man. Razgriz, thank you so much for the super chat. Richard Elmore's here, everyone. Gorgeous Kira, how are you? The stunning Eva. Shinny Rain, thank you for joining us for the first time in our chat room. Oh, my goodness, all these first-timers. I like it. I like it. All right, we got 30 seconds here, everyone. Hey, PBR, what's happening, man? Yes, the Canadian team will win the Northern Division this year. We know that. It's true. A good way to support this show is hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Thumbs down. Super Chat is open. You can do a little shopping at facebook.com/the SOR Vault. Here we go, guys. We're going to have a great show tonight. Let's do this. 5 seconds away. Central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio, along with KPNL. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including Rockin' Out to Bumblefoot, reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and much more. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Find all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. John Carty is a YouTuber as well as a lifelong experiencer of the unknown. On his YouTube channel, which we highly suggest that you hit that subscribe button, he goes by Wreakin' Havoc 215. John is dedicated to sharing his lifelong experiences, which involves extraterrestrials, missing time, ghosts, orbs, shadow people, and many other strange and paranormal events. John is someone who encourages dialogue among the experiencers out there to help share and educate others to find answers to their own unknown. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, we are going to join Vancouver, go right across the Chorus Radio Network, and go on with Shane and the Shift. We got Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. John Carty, a.k.a. Wreakin' Havoc. How you doing, my friend? Good to have you on the show finally.
I'm doing great, Dave. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. And, you know, I got to know you through Goofon and Rich Giordano, who is a mutual friend of this show. And I got to tell you, a few weeks ago, you appeared on one of Rich's call-in shows, and you started talking about these amazing experiences that you have had. And when I heard a few of them, I was like, darn it, man, I got to get this guy on the show. This is exactly what we need. And I appreciate you coming out and being forward with your experiences. It's not always that easy, is it?
Not at all, especially when you're in like the woo territory. It's a little difficult to share. But, you know, I'm like an open book when it comes to this. You know, I look at it as hopefully at some point in my life I can help somebody else out who's dealing with the same stuff, that can listen to me and maybe compare stories and find similarities, you know. So it's a little tough, but I got used to it. I'm good with it now.
Well, let's learn a little bit about you, because, I mean, you're a hardworking guy from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, so you're not used to really being up at this time of night. Usually you're having to get up early, which means you go to bed early. But here you are. You kind of live, like most experiencers, a double life. You have your daytime, which would be your normalcy. You know, you eat dinner. Hopefully it's not breakfast for dinner. But on the flip side, you spend a lot of your hours kind of looking into things you've gone through. How long has this been going on for you?
It's been going on as far as I know, for 25 years since I was 15, I have a strong feeling it started way before that. I have no memory of anything before that, but I'm pretty confident that that wasn't my first experience or my last.
Okay, you mentioned that you're confident in that it wasn't your first or last experience. You know, what's it like for those who have never experienced anything strange and weird to have a lifetime of these type of experiences? Go into detail for me.
I think it depends on the person and how they handle the situation. For me, it was just fear, overwhelming fear all the time. Being afraid to be alone, being afraid to sleep in my bedroom, being afraid to have my windows open. Um, Stuff like that was an everyday thing for me for a very, very long time. And I got used to it and it became normal and it just became everyday habits. It became the way I lived in fear. It was normal for me. You know, some people handle it a little different, I'm sure. But for me, for some reason, the fear was literally consumed my whole body and it affected every aspect of my life for a very long time.
When you talk about living in fear, I mean, you're a tough guy, man. You work in a very laborious job. You're physically strong. You have to be mentally strong. You know, explain this fear.
Uh, it's something I wish I didn't have because the experience wasn't threatening, but looking the alien in the eyes for some reason just flipped my whole world upside down. And for the longest time, I just kept waiting for it to happen again. You know, I used to sleep with a knife under my pillow. Sometimes I was sitting in the middle of my living room with a knife in my hand because I have the feeling that they're like coming again. It was, you know, I would always have to make sure all my windows are locked, doors are locked, all the doors are closed, all the curtains are closed, blinds are closed. It was a Looking back at it, it was very difficult to live that way. But like I said, it was normal for me. I to this Even to this day, I don't sleep in my bedroom like when I'm by myself. I sleep on my couch. I have a tremendous fear of sleeping in my bedroom. You know, and it got to the point where I was sleeping on my couch every day. I forgot why I was even sleeping on my couch. It was just part of the routine. You know, the
Well, let's go back in time as we continue to introduce you to our audience here. Our guest tonight, John Carty, lifelong experiencer here on Spaced Out Radio. John, I want to ask you. Let's go way back in life. When do you recall your first experience with the unknown?
uh, I would have to say when I was like 7 years old. Um, at the time, I didn't realize what was going on, but I kept having the same dream, maybe 2 to 3 times a week for almost, I want to say it was over a year, of me looking out the window. I lived in an apartment complex at the time, so I'm looking out the window of into the apartment complex, into the parking area, and there was like 8 UFOs in the sky. You know, there was some far away, some close, some high, some low. But in my dream, I was like looking at myself, looking out the window, as how I had the dream. And there was like a small section where it would be through my perspective of me looking out the window. But for the most part, it was like almost like I was looking at myself, looking out the window. I didn't put that together with anything until I was 15, and that's when the actual incident happened.
Okay, I want you to
Um,
save that part. Okay, because when we get back from break at the bottom of the hour, I want to go into in depth with that whole abduction scenario you had as a teenager. But as a kid, trying to figure out whether these were nightmares or dreams or vivid imagination, did you ever talk to anybody about it?
no, I never even thought about it. I just assumed it was a dream. You know, I had no reason to think otherwise. It was just something I had the same dream all the time. That's pretty much how I looked at it. I didn't talk to anybody about it at all. Didn't mention it to nobody. Um, it was just a dream to me. But once these events started unfolding, then I could look back at these dreams I was having and connect the two together.
Okay. So when you were dreaming as a kid, what were you seeing besides seeing yourself? Were you seeing weird objects, shadow people, ghosts, aliens? What were you seeing?
It was a fleet of UFOs. That's all it was. It was me looking out the window, looking at UFOs. And I remember in my dream, I was like excited, like I was pointing at them, and that's all it was. It was a quick like 30-second dream. That's all it was. But it was the exact same dream. I could probably say I had that dream at least 100 times as a child,
No way.
but nothing ever crossed my mind. The weird thing that was weird was I didn't know anything about aliens or UFOs, but in the dream I knew I was looking at UFOs. If that makes any sense.
How would you be able to define what a UFO is at that age? Had you been shown Close Encounters of the Third Kind or E.T. or other movies like that?
No, not really. I wasn't into that type of stuff back then. I don't think ET was out yet on VHS at that time. It might have been around that same time, but you know, I remember the discs. They looked like just discs. They had lights on the bottom, and like I said, like some were far away, some were close, some were high, some were low. They're like scattered throughout the sky, and I was just pointing at them, just amazed and excited in my dream.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you feel any fear, or did you feel like it was something fun? When you're describing that, the way I'm kind of seeing it is remembering that little boy on Close Encounters of the Third Kind who was all excited to go play with the aliens or the UFOs when he goes running out of his house before he's abducted.
Uh, yeah, I was excited. Like I remember being excited that I was looking at a bunch of UFOs. It was almost like I was pointing at them, showing somebody like, look, there's UFOs outside, but there was nobody else in the dream. But that's kind of the feeling I got. I remember just pointing at them and just ecstatic that they were there. And then when I kept having the recurring dreams, it was exactly the same. There was no difference in dreams. It was like the exact same dream. I remember I had like a long sleeve red and white striped shirt, like a white collar, white cuffs. Um, yeah, just looking out the window, just pointing at them and being excited that they were there. And that was all that dream ever was.
So that dream, as we go into between the age that you were having this and the time you were abducted, did you have any weird experiences in between then?
No, nothing that I know of, no.
It was like they left you alone.
Yeah, or they were around and I didn't know it. One or the other, but that was it. Nothing happened from then till 15. And once I hit 15, it's still going on to this day. Crazy stuff.
Incredible. I recall as a kid having these nightmares because in my where I grew up, we had a cul-de-sac, and then in behind that cul-de-sac there was a kind of like a neighborhood park, and there was a couple of small forests in there, but there was always this idea that there was this boogeyman in there, if I could use a term. And I remember my sisters talking about it. I think they called him the Green Man or something along those lines. And as a kid, I don't know whether it was my imagination or not, but I used to have recurring dreams like that where, this boogeyman guy would take me out of my bed and for some reason, and this is going back to when I was like 3 or 4, and I would just flap my arms like a bird where I could fly, and that's how I would be able to get away from him. But I could get just high enough that he couldn't reach me. I could fly just as I've always wondered what that was about. Have you ever thought of going back in time through a hypnotherapist or somebody along those lines to see if you were experiencing actual abduction as a kid?
Yes, I've tried to reach everybody I could possibly think of to find someone to do regression in my area. And I've been unsuccessful. I've been trying to find somebody probably for the past 4 or 5 months. I live in Philly. That's where, Bud Hopkins and what was the other guy that worked with him? I forget his name. It was Bud Hopkins and another guy, I forget his name, but they did regression in Philadelphia. That's what they're known for. And I couldn't get a contact with them. I had people try to reach out to people they know. It's just been a dead end. I've been trying pretty hard because I would love to record that regression and really see what's going on and try to answer a lot of these questions I have. Oh, I'm sorry. The guy's name was Dr. David Jacobs from Philadelphia.
Right.
I tried to contact him a few times. I think he's probably retired if I had to guess. But, his office where it used to be is literally 20 minutes from my house, And if I was going to do regression, that was the number one guy on my list. I believe in the work that he does and the stuff that, the people he did regression with and his theory on everything.
Right.
I believe everything that guy says and wasn't able to reach him. I've been looking for somebody else, but it has to be the right person as well. I can't go to any hypnotherapist and talk about this. You know what I'm saying?
I would recommend a good friend of this show is Geraldine Orozco. She knows a lot of people regarding this subject.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely be able to help you. Now, she's in San Francisco, but a lot of this type of regression therapy now, you can do it at a distance. They've figured out how, I guess.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, so that might be, if you want some help with that, we could definitely try and help you out along those lines. But was this or these type of experiences common in your family?
My family doesn't even know anything about my experiences.
Really?
Yeah.
Why have you never told them?
Well, it's hard to tell people, to talk to people. When it happened, talking to them was the last thing on my mind when it happened. I told a couple of my friends like after it happened, and I got the anal probe jokes and stuff like that, and I just shut down. I didn't tell, here and there I would have to tell one of my ex-girlfriends about it because it affected my life so much where I got into a position where I had no choice but to tell them. But as far as family, I haven't told them yet. I've been wanting to recently, but my parents got a lot of stuff going on right now. I don't want to unload this on them at this moment because they know nothing about this. I have a lot to tell them if I'm going to sit down and talk to them. It's just not the right time right now. It's something I want to do.
Right. Are your parents much like my dad, where and a lot of parents out there that are very five senses that or religious and think that anything like this is going to bring blasphemy and embarrassment to the family?
I don't get that impression from them at all. I can't even begin to think about what their opinion would be. I have no idea, and then the thought crosses my mind, what if one of my parents has experiences? Let's say, what if my mom had an experience, and what if she never told my dad? And then, I would open a can of worms, I have this strong belief that one of my parents might have had an experience at some point. I believe that abduction is hereditary. So I don't know. It's just a weird. I waited too long is the problem. I waited so long to tell them. Now I have so much to dump on them. I'm waiting for the right opportunity when, the COVID thing, my mom's all stressed out and, dad's health's not that great. And I feel like, I don't want them to worry about me. So I do want to tell them, but it's just not the right time right now.
And that's tough. Do you have siblings as well?
I have a younger brother.
Have you ever talked to him about it?
No. Nope. I kept all this stuff to myself.
How hard has that been for you on an emotional level, not being able to release it?
Very hard, especially when you're in a relationship and, my girlfriend doesn't believe in other beings or in ghosts. And, when I have personal stuff going on, I can't even tell them. I have to keep everything inside. Just like, sometimes I'll be in a relationship and I might, take out my anger out on them just because I can't talk to them. If you can't confide in your significant other, it's hard. It's very hard. Being in a relationship and dealing with this stuff is extremely hard. for sure.
I bet. With this being such a big part of your life, of who you are and what you're all about, do you almost feel like you're living a lie?
I feel like I'm living two lives. I have the life that goes to work and does all the other stuff, and then I have the life where I come home and I'm by myself in my apartment. Two separate lives, two separate people. Uh, I've been handling it pretty well to this point. I can't. Sometimes it affects my job too. Like, there's so many times I've probably lost 8 to 10 jobs throughout my life because of this. Because I would refuse to go to sleep at night. I would wait till the sun to come up and then go to sleep, and I would do that for like 2 weeks at a time. And I would just quit or get fired from different jobs. Um, yeah, it's been a burden. Like, once I in August when I did my first interview with Alien Addict, like all that fear and everything kind of left. Like I only wanted to do one interview and be done. I didn't want to do anything else. Supposed to share my story once and then just be out. And I got some good feedback from people in the live chat, and that kind of made me feel good. Like, okay, there's people I can actually talk to now who understand where I'm coming from. They made me feel so comfortable these past months, at the point where I will share anything that happens to me with no problem whatsoever. I just had to find the right people, the right community to talk to.
You know what? I'm gonna say that's a real credit to the strength that you have been needing. You've needed the public to believe in you, haven't you?
Yeah, it felt good. Like, I didn't feel ashamed anymore. Like, it's like I remember one of my more serious girlfriends. I had to tell him, like I get to a point where the relationship is rocky because they know something's going on with me, but I won't tell them. And then when I finally told her, she was like, I believe that you believe this is going on, but I don't believe in any of this. And I felt a different way about her from there ever since, and it just wasn't healthy. But having the community in YouTube, it's been so therapeutic. I don't know what I would do if this didn't happen. Before this, I accepted the fact that I was going to live in fear and have a miserable life the rest of my life. I accepted it. I was cool with it. I figured this was meant to be. My life was screwed from early on, and it's just is what it is. But everything turned around once I had people, I can confide in. Made a huge difference. Huge difference. Turned my life around completely.
We've got 1 minute to go before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. John Carty, lifelong experiencer, is our guest tonight. John, we're going to get more into detail about a lot of your experiences coming up, but I really want to focus on you here for a little bit, because a lot of people who experience what you have go through depression, go through anxiety. In about 40 seconds here, are you battling these mental health problems like many of us are?
Yes, I believe so. I think I have PTSD. A doctor never told me that, but I can diagnose myself for sure on that one. Stress, depression, anxiety, fear, all mixed together. It's not a good thing. At least for me, it wasn't a good thing at all. It was the most negative thing that probably could have happened to me, pretty much. But I stayed strong and kept fighting through.
Well, we're going to get more into your experiences coming up and a lot more. And you know what? You're with family tonight, my friend. You are with family tonight, because the majority of us here, we've all experienced the woo, and we're willing to walk the woo line with you. And everybody else can jump on the woo train with us, because we are one big giant family here at Spaced Out Radio, and we always got room for more. John Carty, his lifelong experience on Spaced Out Radio, coming up next. Good job, buddy. Good job.
Thanks.
I know the feeling. You know what? In just listening to what you are saying regarding the experiences. I know exactly how you're feeling, man. Exactly. And you know, God bless you for seeing that there's a lot of people out there, man, who will care for you and will help you out. That's for sure.
Yeah, something I never expected.
I know. It's weird, eh?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That was a quick half hour.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I like what Big Fat Creep in the chat room says. We all a little messed up. Best part about it, we all the same in some ways. Damn rights, my friend. Damn rights. Nate says, great guest, Dave. John is a sincere and genuine person. I can totally feel it. I tell you, man, there's a lot of love for you out there. A lot of love.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Look who's entered the chat room, everyone. It's Alaska's greatest athlete, the gorgeous and talented Emily Bigelow. Give her a round of applause. She'll be signing autographs outside the studio as well. Yes. I don't know why I started that whole autograph thing outside the studio, but goddamn, I find that funny. I do. I don't know why, but I find that funny. None of you may, but I'm chuckling and chortling inside. That's for sure. Totally chuckling and chortling. Hey, Gary Vermeer, you're Dutch. Oh, by the way, just so you know, the Dutchman, when he arrives, we always love to give a shout-out to one of our great sponsors, Mighty Moose Beard Oil. You need some too, my friend, right there. Go to MightyMooseBeard.com. You get your good beard oil here. Everything is in Canadian dollars. We're going to try this. No, we tried that one last night. Let's try this one tonight. This is the original. All you do, you just unscrew the top, give a little squeeze there. Comes out. Just throw a little bit of that in the hands there. And that's what you do. Just rub your hands together. Massage it in. Just massage it in. Don't forget, when you go to MightyMooseBeard.com, use promo code SOR2019. Dutchman's actually going to give you a discount. How many Dutch people do you know that will give you a discount? We found one people, and that's Gary the Dutch. Yeah, MightyMooseBeard.com. It's also good, ladies, for the hair. It stops the split ends. It really does. So you just throw that in the hair. Look how nice my hair looks now. Nice, smooth, beautiful. My hair was looking like crap before. Like crap. Throw on a little beard oil, touch it all up. He's got some new products coming on. Remember, go to MightyMooseBeard.com. Tell him Dave sent you. SOR2019 is the code. You're going to get a hell of a deal. Hell of a deal. All prices in Canadian dollars. Hey, there, I got that out of the way. Thanks, Dutch. Appreciate it, man. Love Gary the Dutch. He's a good hockey fan, too. Good hockey fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Knows his stuff. Knows his stuff. There we go. MightyMooseBeard.com, Kim. Just click on the link that Corrence, the booking guy, just put on in the chat room. We got just under 90 seconds here. Chuckles, how's your beehive? Let us know. You want a little bit of oil in your hair? I used to wash my hair every day. And then I grew it long and realized that it's actually healthier to only wash your hair once every second, third, or fourth day. The oil comes naturally. That's what allows your hair to look as good as mine. It's true, people. It's true. I never knew this before I started growing my hair. Hit up Lion Dog Face Pony Soldier. hit up Mighty Moose Beard. Corey has it just above you, the link there. If you're looking for the URL, you could just click on that, mightymoosebeard.com, and it'll take you right there. It's really good stuff. All right, guys, here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with John Carty. He's got a great YouTube channel. We'd love for you to hit that subscribe button on his channel as well, called Wreakin' Havoc 215. That's RICAN Havoc, HAVOC 215. Make sure you go crush that subscribe button on his as well. John, welcome back.
Thanks.
Now, for people who are just tuning in, right before the break, we were talking about your own experiences and how it's affected you, your life, relationships. You've been fired from numerous jobs because of these experiences. Let's go into detail, whatever you're comfortable with. Let's go back to when you were 15 years old. What happened?
Okay, so my parents came to me one day and said, we're going to go on a cruise as a family. You have the option to stay home by yourself or come with us. I chose the option to stay home by myself. And the first night this incident happened. Looking back, I made a wrong decision. But anyway, so they go on a cruise. My mom, my dad, and my brother. I'm home alone. It's either a Friday or Saturday night. I know it was a weekend, but I can't remember what exact day it was. But I was playing basketball with my buddies, basketball court that we walked to. It was like 20-minute walk away. Played basketball, walked home. It was about 11:30 at night. I took a shower. I was in a pretty good mood. I had the house to myself. Everything was great.
You were a man.
Yeah, I didn't do anything, crazy. I was just happy to be in the house by myself, I was going to go in my room and watch some TV and enjoy the quiet. So I take a shower, I get dressed. I leave my hallway light on. And so I go into my bedroom and I shut the door, and my bedroom light is on as well. So I get into bed, I'm sitting up, I have my back against my headboard. And before I even had a chance to turn my television on, my bed starts vibrating. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And the vibrating gets more intense. And then all of a sudden, my bed starts really shaking. And it got to the point where it was shaking so much that there would only be 1 foot of my bed on the ground at a time. At this point, I'm holding on to my mattress. It's like riding a mechanical bull. It's pretty much how it felt. And this happened maybe 20 to 30 seconds and then just stopped. And I was like, what the heck was that? And I was like, wow, I had a paranormal experience. A ghost did this. Wasn't too scared. I was like, all right, this was a ghost. This is my first time experiencing this. It's fine. And then a couple seconds later, I get this overwhelming feeling like it just hit me out of nowhere. And I kind of froze for a second. And I turned my head to the right, very fast. And looking into my window were two aliens, two beings. They were their faces were maybe an inch away from the glass. So my bedroom lights are on, so I can clearly see the lights shining out. I can see everything clear as day. My window was probably 5 feet away from me, is how close I was. And so when I turned my head, there's two of them. There was the first one I seen was taller, and the second one I saw was shorter. So when I turn my head, I start to see the eye of the first one, the taller one. As soon as I saw like a quarter of its eye, I kind of knew what was about to happen. I like I had it was like an overload of emotions and thoughts at one time. It happened so fast. So I turned completely. Now I see both of them, but I can't get past looking at the taller one, the first one. So we like locked eyes, like almost it was like a staring competition. Now they didn't move at all during any of this that I remember. They did not move or budge or nothing like that whatsoever. So I'm looking at the taller one and I can't look away from its eyes. I'm like completely locked on. I feel like I couldn't breathe. Felt like my heart stopped. I felt like everything just stopped. And like the best way I can describe it was like almost like a tunnel vision as I was looking into the eyes formed. There was no communication. There was no movement from it. I wasn't paralyzed. It was just a staring contest. And I couldn't look away. I couldn't blink. I couldn't breathe. I was completely froze. So I can still see the shorter one to the right. Now, the impression I had is that the taller one was a male and the shorter one was a female. Just because of the size comparison, like the smaller one's head had a smaller head than the taller one. The taller one to me looked more manly, and the shorter one looked feminine. And the way they were standing was like, I always describe it as like a prom picture. Like, you know how you have like the guy in the back and then the female in the front, a little bit in front of them to the side. They were kind of standing like that. And I already knew what was going to happen. Like I knew it. And I remember the thought went through my head is, how are they in a suburban development with houses close to each other? You know, that was my first thought because I was into the subject a little bit. I always hear stories where people would get abducted on like, you know, a road out in the middle of nowhere or from a farm or somewhere in the woods. The fact that they were doing this type of stuff in like suburban areas, that blew my mind. That was one of the thoughts that went through my head. So as I'm looking into this being's eyes, it was like the longest probably 30 seconds of my life. Then I get an immediate intense feeling again that just hit me, and I turn my head to the left now, and I look at the bottom of my bedroom door. So like I said, my hallway lights were still on, and I saw two pairs of legs step towards my door from the outside, and their shadows were projected into my bedroom on my hardwood floor. My bedroom door was a little messed up, so there was a large gap from the bottom of the door to the floor. And, you know, one stepped up, went left foot, right foot. The next one stepped up, left foot, right foot. They were side by side, so they had to have been like almost child size to be side by side in a hallway, regular size hallway, you know. And at this point, like I really know what's going on now. I was so scared. I wish I had the guts to like handle that situation a little bit differently. Like, you know, I was able to move around. It's not like I was, you know, some people say they're paralyzed and can't move. So I was able to move. I wish I could have approached them at the window or did something, but what I did was get into the fetal position and throw my blankets over my body. And I was absolutely terrified of them touching me. Like, that was the number one concern, is them physically touching me. And I'm under the blankets waiting for them to grab me because I thought that was going to happen. 1 second later, it felt like I'm waking up on my couch the next morning. I remember I was face down on my couch. My legs were hanging off. My shorts were on backwards. And I felt like I had like the worst hangover ever. And the first thing I wanted to do was get a shower. That was the number one thing. I immediately took a shower. In the shower, you know, I'm shampooing my hair or whatever, and soap runs down my back, and it hits a scab on the lowest part of my back that was not there the day before, and I jumped because it burned so much. It was just the scab was huge, the lowest part of my back, and I was like, where the heck that come from? You know, I never I never put it together with the abduction until like 17 years later. I just brushed it off because it didn't cross my mind that something like that could happen. I was like, how would I cut myself from the lowest part of my back? You know, I had to this day, I have a scar. I still have a scar there. So yeah, I woke up the next morning, showered, and I was kind of in a daze. And, you know, I tried to get back to normal life pretty much after that. You know, I told some of my friends a few days afterwards, you know, I got a few jokes, and I realized this isn't something that you don't go up to people and talk about, you know. But the looking into the eyes is something I'll absolutely never forget. I can literally relive the whole situation in my head if I close my eyes. Like, you know, I don't know what happened after I went under the blankets. I have no idea.
Can I take you back to that moment for a couple of questions, if you don't mind?
Sure, not at all.
You know, and I want to just say, you know, and I'm pretty sure I'm speaking for our audience listening here, that we can feel you by the way you are describing this. We can feel everything, and it takes a lot of courage to be able to tell your story like this in a public forum, and I'm blown away by it. Thank you for that. But my question, or a couple questions, is the beings that were outside your window, was your room on a ground level?
No, it was on the second floor, and they were standing on the roof that covered the first floor patio outside. It's a roof that I used to hang out on, so, you know, I looked up, you know, where I used to live, where it happened, on Google Maps, and tried to measure the window height and stuff, and, you know, I came to the conclusion that they were probably around like 4 foot tall, if I had to guess. You know,
right.
Yeah. So they're standing on the roof. You know, what I don't get though is the bed jumping around and shaking before I seen them. I feel like it was like maybe an abduction going wrong. Maybe like maybe I was supposed to get sucked through the ceiling, but something happened, or I don't know. It was weird. I don't know how those two connected. You know, I didn't see any lights when my bed was jumping around. Like. Nothing like that. But, I mean, it was literally on 1 foot of the bed at a time. It was jumping that hard. It was amazing.
Okay, so these beings that you saw, what would you describe them as for the public to get a picture of what you're looking at?
I would describe them as a typical gray. They had like their skin was like gray, but it had like a brownish tint to it. It's weird. It was like a brownish tint to it. I remember the skin had like pores. I can see the pores in its face. It had like just a slit for a mouth. You know, to me, it looked like the mouth was completely useless. There's no muscle definition or bone definition anywhere on these beings whatsoever. Their heads were so perfectly shaped. There's no cheekbones, brows, absolutely nothing. They had like 2 little holes for a nose, but it wasn't like you know, there wasn't any shape of a nose. Like their head was like perfectly symmetrical, round, and you know, they had long chins. Their eyes, they had the big, you know, black eyes. They wrapped around the sides slightly, just a little bit, you know, I could tell. Maybe like a 1/4 inch or something like that, but I could tell it kind of wrapped a little bit. But the eyes looked like they were just sitting on top of their face. Like it didn't look like it was actually part of the being. Like there's no like wrinkle or creases in the face. It looked like it was just perfectly sitting on top. It didn't look like, you know, it was set into their face. You know what I'm saying? Like you would see a line around the eye if it was like set in. It looked like it was just placed gently on top of their face. There was not a single line or anything of on their face whatsoever. It was perfectly smooth. And that kind of was weird to me. Like, it was perfect. Like, the shape of the head was perfectly round at the top. It was larger. Um, Everything was perfectly symmetrical. Like, looking back at it now, I think they might have been created by another being, just how they look to me, you know. So there was a taller one and a shorter one. I said I think the shorter one might have been a female. I don't know, but that's a gut feeling I have. Um, Another gut feeling I have is that they were there because they were concerned. Um, I actually did a reading with somebody a couple of months ago, or maybe a month ago, and what they said was that there was two different types of beings there. You know, she thought the beings looking in the window were separate from the ones standing outside my bedroom door. Like, I always felt the beings outside the window, for some reason, cared about me or cared about what was going to happen to me. I was still scared, absolutely terrified, you know, but I always had that feeling. And I kind of kept that feeling suppressed. I didn't want to believe that. But recently I'm starting to accept, you know, it's a very strong feeling. It's something I felt during the abduction, but something I kind of denied. But yeah, they look like grays, you know, they didn't move at all. It was the fact, like, they didn't react to when I saw them. It was very, like, robotic.
It sounds so familiar, man. And I think anybody who has had an experience with the Greys or any type of extraterrestrial is nodding their head along with myself saying, yep, I recall that. I recall that feeling. That you're bringing it home tonight. That is for sure. The beings that came in, I could just imagine what I would be like at 15 years old. I would have been screaming. I would have been yelling, probably crying in fear. Did you have all of that going on, knowing that here you were, the one time you really need your parents, and they're on a beautiful cruise while you're dealing with aliens?
I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't do anything like that. Everything happened so quick. You know, I got out of the shower. I hop in bed immediately. Bed starts jumping. As soon as the bed starts jumping, I see aliens to the right. You know, then I get a feeling. I look over. I can see the shadow of two outside the door. Throw the blanket over my head. Wake up on the couch. It happens. It happens. So the whole thing might have been like no more than a minute and a half. No more. I would say probably 60 seconds, the whole thing combined. It was just like boom, boom, boom. I'm on my couch next morning with scab on my back, you know, laying face down on my couch. It looked like I felt like I was thrown on there. Like, my legs, whole lower body was just hanging off, you know.
You mentioned the
And
feeling of the hangover. What do you mean by that?
I felt like kind of lost, like in a daze, like really confused. Like, I felt out of it, you know, and definitely confused. I remembered what happened, and it was just like I was kind of in a daze a little bit, and all I wanted to do was shower. For some reason, like, when I opened my eyes, I remember what happened, but I just needed a shower. That was like the first thing on my mind, you know. And
Many victims of abduction or serious crimes do shower afterwards because they feel dirty, they feel unkempt, and something was wrong. Do you feel that?
I don't know if I actually felt them feelings at the time. All I can remember was when I woke up, I just wanted to take a shower. You know, that was 25 years ago. I don't remember having that feeling. I just remember when I opened my eyes, I was just, you know, like I said, felt hungover, went right to the bathroom and showered, and then I kind of sat down after the fact and broke down what happened.
That would mean you would have what, 7, 8 hours of missing time?
Well, I'm not sure. When I woke up, it was 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. The incident happened maybe around midnight. I have no idea if I was actually taken or not. I don't remember anything past hiding under my blankets. So in between then and waking up, I really don't know what happened. I don't know how long I could have been gone. I don't know if they did something to me just in my house. I have no clue. I have no clue what happened. That's where I like to talk to somebody who does regression to kind of put that piece in there for me.
We've got about 3.5 minutes before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. John Carty telling us his amazing experience with extraterrestrial contact. John, at 15 years old, I could just imagine what is going through your mind at this point. You know, when you wake up and you hit the shower and all of a sudden your back is burning and you're feeling this scab there, you know, how big was that mark on your back?
It was like an oval shape. It was pretty big. Uh, I guess if you can picture, you know how people put pennies on the train tracks and they run it over and it gets like an oval shape? Well, picture doing that with like a nickel. That's the shape, like an oval shape, something like that size. It was pretty big. And I was picking at it and I kept thinking like, how the heck did I cut myself there? The thought of, it's crazy how I put the pieces together. But at the time, even though it was the next day after the abduction, I still didn't think that had anything to do with that.
Really?
Yeah, that never crossed my mind.
What?
Like I said, 17 years after the fact, you know, I put the pieces together.
Okay, so when that moment happened and you're feeling your back, did you have any other types of symptoms when you woke up? I mean, I do want to get into the shorts here, but physical symptoms, you had the hangover, you had the scratch. Was there anything else?
Not that I remember. I think that was it.
Wow. Wow.
But yeah, it was an interesting night, that's for sure.
At what point did you notice that your shorts were put on backwards?
As soon as I woke up. It's the first thing I noticed. I was like, why are my pants on backwards? And then I'm like, why am I hanging off my couch? And then I'm like, oh, I feel like crap. And I was like, I got to take a shower. It's pretty much how my thought process went, pretty quick, you know. I mean, I was in that shower probably within 2 minutes of me waking up.
Wow.
It's all I wanted to do. That was like the only thing on my mind, which is pretty strange, but it's all I wanted to do. It's all I cared about was taking a shower.
Did you vomit?
No. But I did have it's a little embarrassing, but I did have something happen right after that. I was not able to go to the bathroom for like 2 months. I would only assume that it had something to do with it because it immediately started like after the fact. Yeah, I just couldn't go to the bathroom. The timing of it, the timing of it like immediately happened and after the fact is just, I don't know if that's a coincidence or what, but
wow,
it was was a tough thing. Yeah,
2 months.
They had to they had to surgically remove it. I didn't go to the bathroom for so long.
So there was like an immediate blockage that you had within your intestines.
Yes. And they had to surgically remove it, and yeah, it was a embarrassing thing, but that happened like immediately after this abduction experience. So I was like, you know, dealing with a lot of stuff, you know, back to back.
Unbelievable. Okay, you know what? I'm blown away right now. I am blown away by your experience, and I can't believe that we're through 1 hour on this show. And the good news is we got you for another 90 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio, because this isn't the end of it. This isn't the end. We got more of John's experiences coming up here on Spaced Out Radio. Our guest tonight, John Carty. His YouTube channel, Wreakin' Havoc 215. Wreakin' Havoc 215. Highly suggest you hit that subscribe button there. Check him on out. More of John Carty's life experiences coming up in Hour 2 of Spaced Out Radio. Dude, you have me shivering all over my body, man. Holy cow. Okay, I'm just going to put the commercials on. I'm going to run my dogs outside, and I'll be right back, okay?
All right, cool.
The Burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bubblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spicing up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at Kajans.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and we have some cool swag for you to pick up. All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You'll have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today. Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Get your horns up with
All
me
right,
on
buddy, I'm
Spaced
back.
Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune into SOR where you can hear me rock out.
All right. We've got just under 2 minutes.
Okay, nice.
That's pretty heavy shit, dude.
Yeah, I mean, as far as me not going to the bathroom, man, that was like one of the most embarrassing things ever. It got to a point where I had a hard time walking.
Well, let's just hold off on that here because
Yeah.
we got to make sure that we get the radio audience in on that too.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Blown away right now. Blown away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Every time I talk about it, I feel like I'm reliving it. Get a little,
I know.
little anxiety, but
I know the feeling all too well. All too well. Yeah.
Got goosebumps and everything.
Yeah, I know the feeling. For those of us who have experienced things, we know. We know, and we're feeling it with you. So hold on one sec. We got 25 seconds. Thank you to Razgriz for the amazing super chat tonight. We really do appreciate the love and support that we have here. And thank you to everyone who's given us a thumbs up, thumbs down, and listening on in. We're going to get going in 5 seconds. Hello, Mr. Cowley. Welcome back to the show. Radio is now underway. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. My name is Dave Scott, and I'm sitting in SOR HQ. It's a little cold outside, but nonetheless, we're glad we are here. We want to welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial radio affiliates across the continent and digitally on KPNL, TalkStream Live, and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Quadrivium. Quadrivium is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with our guest tonight, John Carty. This man is best known for his YouTube channel called Wreakin' Havoc 215. We highly suggest you hit that subscribe button on him as well. And we're hearing this amazing firsthand experience that he has had with extraterrestrials. Happened when it was 15. If you missed the first hour, you're definitely going to want to listen to it again. I know I will be. John, welcome back.
Yep, thanks.
John, 15 years old, and right before the break you were telling us that one of the side effects that you had from this was you weren't able to go to the bathroom for 2 months. When did you start first noticing this?
Maybe 2 weeks after the fact. I just stopped. It completely stopped. It was so weird, and I ended up having to miss a lot of school. I'm in high school at the time, so I had to miss school, and it was so bad where I was struggling a little bit to walk. It got painful. It got to the point where it had to be surgically removed. The doctors at the time said they'd never seen anything like that before.
Where was the blockage? Did they figure out what was going on within you?
You know what? I never got an answer for what happened or why it happened. They just said it was strange. They never had a case like they described it as the equivalent of a woman giving birth, pretty much the procedure, like the stirrups and everything. It was pretty embarrassing, really. But yeah, they never told me why or how it happened. They just said they never seen nothing like that before.
Do you feel a little ripped off that you didn't get or understand, like, where it happened, why it happened? They didn't give you really anything to go on?
I was happy at that point that it was over. I missed a few weeks of school. I lost a job because of this, because I had to call out of work so much for doctor's appointments. So I'm getting in on all angles, at once. It was a bad year around that time. It's just stuff happening to me was just one after another.
John, as you are trying to figure out what this experience was, your parents come home from this vacation. Did anything else happen at that time while your parents were gone?
As far as I know, that was the only thing. As far as me having being abducted, that's all I remember. That one incident. A few months ago, I woke up with a bunch of scoop marks all over my knees and elbow, which I have pictures of. I don't remember anything happening, but I know I went to bed totally fine, and I wake up the next morning with 12 to 16 holes in my knee and maybe 8 on my elbow, scoop marks that were in pairs. That's the only time I can remember. I assumed that had to have been something with abduction. I didn't do that. It couldn't have happened in my sleep. And that hurt. The holes were almost down to the bone. That was pretty painful. But yeah, that one incident's the only time I've ever seen an alien, as far as I know.
Okay, so you said earlier in the last half hour that it took you 17 years really to figure out what was going on and what happened. Did you just block it out of your mind, or was this always on your mind, but you were too scared maybe to go in depth and try and figure out what happened?
Well, the thing was, after it happened, I would say from 15 to 30, it didn't bother me too much. I knew it happened. I remembered it happening, but I wasn't as bothered by it as I was when I was older. Now, when I was 30, I believe this was the first season of Ancient Aliens came out, episode 1, first time ever watching it. I'm sitting at my parents' house watching it. I get up to walk away, and I completely stop. And the most overwhelming fear hit me, fear that I've never felt before. And that's the point where it really got bad. That's the point where I stopped sleeping in my bedroom, and I started becoming paranoid and freaking out all the time. So I don't know what I heard in that episode or what I saw, but it unlocked something, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I stopped walking. I couldn't move. And I remember just taking a deep breath and having all these thoughts run through my head, and I was just consumed with fear. Now, 2 years after that, I was on the internet. I kept looking for a blog to find people who also were abducted. And at that time, I kept running across abductee sites, but it was on the religious side. And I don't put the two together, so I avoided that. I didn't want nothing to do with that. I didn't believe religion had anything to do with alien abduction. I eventually came across a post on a website that I thought was credible. And it was a woman, and she posted, I think I was abducted by aliens last night. The next morning, I took a shower, and I found a scab on my back. So she literally had the same experience I did. And that was the first time. That was 17 years after my experience. And that was the first time I said, oh, my God, the scars from that night. She literally repeated my story. And I replied to her and told her, it happened to me too. I was able to find that website a couple months ago and find that thread and save it. And I contacted the lady who runs the website to try to contact the person who left that post. And she couldn't find her for me. But she definitely tried, because I wanted to reach out and tell her, that was me. That happened to me too. If I didn't read that blog and her post, I would have never put the two together as far as the scab and the scar on my back to the abduction.
Feeling all alone and having to deal with this and trying to find others. I know exactly what you're talking about because, for me, what really pushed me when I started having experiences was the fact, and I found this frustrating, and maybe you did too, I'd like to find out, when you were scouring the internet looking for people who had your same experience, or at least something similar, did it frustrate you that there were always these similar ones, but they were never quite the same, and it never really answered your questions?
100%. I would find stuff that was kind of close. And I always felt like my experience was not the most exciting one compared to the most I was finding on the internet. I've found or stumbled across some amazing, sometimes far-fetched stories, And it was frustrating, and it's still frustrating. It's like who can you talk to if you've been abducted and you just need somebody to talk to?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Like, if I could accomplish anything, I would like to be one of those people. Because I try to contact MUFON thinking they could help me like psychologically, because I was in a bad spot at one point, and they blew me off pretty much. And they also blew me off again a couple months ago, but I didn't know where to go. I just was looking for help. I had no idea who to ask, and MUFON was the first group that I found. I was looking for like psychological help. Like I was like, the fear that I felt, I don't understand it, because it just grew more and more the older I got. Like, people would probably think I'm crazy if they saw the way I live, as far as not sleeping in my bedroom. Like, there'll be times like I'll shower with the curtain open, because I'm just so paranoid. But yeah, trying to find a story like mine, I don't know if I really have yet, and even the beings I've seen, I've never seen a picture saying that's what I've seen. It's always a variant of it or something close to what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
I try to draw it. I've tried to draw it for so long, and I can never get it to where I'm happy with it, as far as the proportions of the eyes and the head. Like, I tried to sketch it so many times. I keep getting close, but I can't get it to where I can say definitively that is what I saw. I'm still trying to work on that. But yeah, it's hard to find, it's hard to put your trust in a story that you find, because there's a lot of people out there that fake stuff. It's hard to like read someone's story and put, believe them and confide in them and try to reach out to them. It's a tough thing, man. It's very tough, very frustrating.
And for a lot of people who have gone through those experiences, they say the exact same thing of feeling all alone, and you're wondering, because did you find yourself getting afraid to become close to people because of this?
In a relationship, yes. So as far as everybody else, not really. The relationships are the tough one. When you're actually living with somebody and you still have this tremendous fear, but you have to hide it from everybody else. Like, trying to hide that you're scared all the time is very stressful. It's very toxic. It's not a good thing, just to be in a relationship and hide it. There's a couple of girls I dated who believed me. And there's a couple that actually were around when something happened to me. But besides, being in a relationship, I never had no problem being around people. It didn't bother me. It's just, when you have someone you're living with for a couple of years and you're trying to hide this from them the whole time, it's such a roller coaster of emotions. It's impossible to do. It's impossible. Like, I'm single now, and I'm thinking, like, if I get another serious relationship, I have to go through the whole cycle again of trying to hide this from them. and then I'll get to the point where I have no choice but to tell them. You know, like here's a quick example. One ex, she had a few kids. She insisted to sleep with the bedroom door open, which was I would never sleep with the door open, never. So I'd wait for her to fall asleep and close it. You know, she would tell me, she's like, John, like I have to keep the door open so I can hear my kids. Which I agree with her. She's 100% right. But it became an argument, and it became something that spilled into like 2 or 3 weeks of just arguing about a door being shut or open. I had to tell her. What was going on. She's like, "What's wrong with you? Why can't you just shut the door?" You know, I get mad. Like I all that anger and fear that built up. You know, I would just release on her, and you know, that'd be like, I have to tell her. And you know, and it's usually how it goes in relationships. Some women, you know, believe me. Some don't. And the ones that don't, when they say they don't believe me, it kind of just makes the rest of the way from there very difficult.
So what you're saying is old Davies has to set up alienabducteedating.com.
Something like that, yeah. I signed up for one website like that. It was just, they wanted like $45 a month, and I was like, no thanks.
No, you know, and I don't mean to, please don't take that as a rude comment that.
Oh, not at all.
You know, but I do have to ask you, I mean, you know, you sound like a guy who has his head on his shoulders, and you're just trying to figure out what is going on with you regarding this, you know, in keeping this giant secret from the public, from your family, from those who you are most intimate with. That's a lot of weight on your shoulders. How have you not cracked? Like, were you ever in your depression or anxiety suicidal with this? Or just feeling that you got to run away and just start fresh somewhere else?
Yeah, all those feelings. You know, the suicide thing is something that I would never do. It's not an option, but I always felt like that would be a way to end everything, the fear. I would never do it, but I knew that would be one way out, you know. But yeah, that crossed my mind a couple of times. And yeah, like just getting up, starting fresh somewhere, and trying to get away from everything, you know, try to run from it pretty much. I've had every emotional feeling, thought. I've had everything. I mean, like I said, there was times where I'd be sitting in a dark room with a knife in my hand, just waiting for him to come get me, you know. Like it ruined pretty much every aspect of my life at one point. Even like, me getting in trouble. Like when I was younger, I didn't care about nothing. Like to me, I was waiting every day for it to happen again. So I would do whatever I had to do to enjoy that day as much as I possibly could.
Because the night was coming.
Yes. And that's not a good way to live, you know. You know, I did, you know, wasn't acting like myself. You know, I would, let's say like I had to pay rent one day, and instead of paying rent, I go to Atlantic City and have fun because I was just concerned on having fun that day because I didn't know if that night I'd be taken again. And I lived that way for a while, and that was, you know, that snowballed into like, you know, my credit and having jobs and everything you could think of. Everyone's normal life like was affected by this one incident.
Do you feel ripped off?
Yeah. I feel like I didn't get a fair shot. That's best way I can put it. I feel like I didn't get a fair shot. I wish I was just left alone, like most people, to live a regular life.
You know, I'm trying really hard here not to make this sound like a downer type story, because it's not. It's about you releasing this a couple decades worth of pain here that, you know, has been very traumatizing to you. You know, you mentioned in the first hour how you couldn't keep a job, you know, because of the worry of all of this happening, and you went through 8-10 jobs regarding this. I remember talking to a lady a couple of times on this show named Karina Sables, where she went through that exact same emotion where, you know, she couldn't hold on to a job. And when she was taken, she was so tired, she was sleeping through her shifts. And it just kind of, it got to the point where, you know, she just could not work. You know, as you're going through all of these jobs, I mean, that had to beat you up on a personal level as well. You know, just trying to think of, I really don't know how to put what I'm trying to think of here, and that's so bad as a host. But I mean, were you craving stability and just couldn't find it?
Oh, definitely. Even still to this day, I'm trying to fix stuff from back then, you know? Just just to live a regular life is all I wanted. Um, like when I saw the being for the first time, I turned my head and saw like a quarter of its eye. My life just flipped upside down and just went a whole different trajectory. Yeah, I used to be very resentful, feeling like I didn't have a fair shot. Uh, and a lot of these emotions to me, I think it's important to share because there are people like me out there that have these same emotions. Like the emotional part to me is like the side effects of all this is very important on sharing my feelings and stuff. Because there could be just one person listening right now, and they could have had the same feelings, and they could maybe feel better that somebody else out there is going through the same thing. I know most of the feelings are kind of downers, but that's just the reality of what happened. It's important for me to share that part.
We've got about 2.5 minutes left with you. When was the next time you were taken that you know of?
I don't. There is no other time that I can definitively say I was taken. I assume I take my assumption from David Jacobs' work. He did like 1,000 regression sessions, and like 90% of them get abducted 30 or something times a year, their whole life, and he's someone I trust in his work, and that's why I assume I've been abducted other times. Even recently, when I said I woke up with them scoop marks, I think that has something to do with an abduction. I'll share the pictures with you sometime, but it was the scoop marks were so painful I couldn't walk. I could barely work. And this happened like the day before I went on Goof On with Rich for the first time, and like I had the pictures like fresh. Like that morning, I shared them, and I still have kind of scarring from them on my knee. You can see the discoloration of where the scoop marks were, but I don't remember being abducted again. But if I had to bet money, I would say it's happened a few times. I don't know anybody who's been abducted once.
Have you seen other UFOs since then?
I seen one a week after the abduction when I was 15. I was at the same basketball courts as I was, when the abduction happened, and that night. And I was looking. I was like, wow! I thought I saw a shooting star. It looked like a star going across the top of the sky. And I was playing one-on-one basketball, and I was trying to tell my friend, like, yo, look at this shooting star. I never seen one before. And he's like, oh, you're going to try to take the basketball from me. I'm not buying it. Like, he wouldn't look at the sky. So I'm just watching it, and it just comes to a complete stop at the center of the sky above me and sat there for a good minute. And then it shot across the second half of the sky like in a blink of an eye. And that was a week after the abduction. I mean, it looked like a star. I thought it was a shooting star, but when it came to a complete stop above me and just sat there, I knew that wasn't a shooting star anymore. And that was the only time I could say I've seen a UFO. I don't know anything else that can stop on a dime and then take off across the rest of the sky like in a blink of an eye. That was pretty amazing.
John, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Wreaking Havoc 215 is his YouTube channel. John Carty with an amazing, extraordinary experience of ET contact. What else has he experienced? We're going to find out when we come back on Spaced Out Radio right after this. All right, we're clear.
All right, cool.
Damn, dude. I think there's the majority of our audience wants to give you a big hug, man. Not going to lie. I'd give you a big hug.
Yeah, the support's been amazing on YouTube. Like I said, it's changed my life for sure. I haven't really seen any negative comments about me since I started all this, and it's been nice. This time is going by fast, man.
Oh yeah, man.
I have so many more experiences to talk about. I don't think we'll be able to get to them all today.
We're going. We're pushing. We are pushing.
Oh man.
No, this is good stuff. This is really, really good stuff.
Thanks. I'm kind of like reliving all the emotions right now. I don't know how I really feel right now. It's like I have a swirl of different emotions going through me.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're feeling, and I can tell you we're feeling the exact same thing here, man. We really are.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally feel it, and I know others are as well. Just reading the comments here in the chat rooms, and everybody's kind of sticking with and running with it, man. Okay, we got to ask you the big question here. 2 big questions coming up for you. The hardest ones you will answer all night. What's your opinion of eating breakfast for dinner?
I had breakfast for dinner tonight.
You sicko. No wonder the aliens are gone away.
I was laughing while I was eating because I was thinking about the show, and I was like, oh my God. I made like pork roll, egg and cheese breakfast sandwiches. I was eating, I just started laughing.
Dirty bastard.
Yeah, it's quick, man. It's a quick dinner, It doesn't involve like real cooking. Just throw some eggs and some pork rolls, some bacon maybe. It's like a treat, I know you feel strongly the opposite way.
Here I thought you were a good guy. Had normal head on your shoulders, but apparently not.
I think you're the only person I ever heard of that doesn't like breakfast for dinner.
Oh, no. The crypto guru, Ronald Murphy. By the way, you need to have him on your show. You really do. Fantastic guy. Fantastic. And he absolutely hates breakfast for dinner. Hates it. But, all right, next question. Are you Team Stump or Team Rock when it comes to Devil's Tower?
I'm not sure what Devil's Tower is.
Remember Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Okay.
Where the big mountainous rock or stump that the aliens land behind looks like a giant tree stump?
Yes.
Do you think it's a tree stump or do you think it's a rock?
No, it's a rock. Am I 0 for 2?
You are very much 0 for 2 right now.
I haven't seen that movie in so long, but I don't remember no tree stump back there.
Honestly, if you were right in front of me right now, I'd throw a shoe at you. I would. I would throw a shoe at you.
That movie creeps me out. I really don't watch it too often.
I'm going to tell you right now, I would walk on the craft. I would walk on the craft. I would. I need to.
I'm 50-50 on that one. I don't know. I guess you'd have to, Where are you going to go?
Human Carl, by the way, says, John, look at this shit. Human Carl, he's a good veteran. And, we'll give him a clap for being a veteran of the United States military.
Nice.
All right, we love him around here. Served in Vietnam. We love you, Carl. He goes, John, all of us agree with you. Dave is the loner. Human Carl. All right, we got about 45 seconds here. Hey, thank you, TH, for the amazing super chat. I really do appreciate that. Thanks for joining us tonight. That's awesome. Thank you. Oh, wow. Nah, dude. It's, we're feeling it. We're really feeling you tonight, man. And I'll tell you, I mean, between Goof On and you coming on over here, man, there's a lot of love for you. A lot of love for you, man.
Yes, it's definitely much appreciated. It's what keeps me going.
Yeah, man. Well, you got us, man. You got
Awesome.
us. I know you got Richie G's team there, too. I mean, that's and Dark Hours, that's a lot of love. Hold on 2 seconds. We're going to get going here. The halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Really do appreciate each and every one of you tuning on in. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with the show tonight. John Carty is our guest. He's a lifelong experiencer and really getting into formal detail about what he has gone through his entire life after being abducted by extraterrestrials at the age of 15. John, welcome back.
Yep, thank you.
For a lot of people who have a major experience like you did, it opens the door, almost like the paranormal Pandora's box, to other experiences as well. What led to your next experiences? Did you have paranormal all of a sudden going on all around you?
I would have an experience maybe once every 1 or 2 years, but I started experiencing a little bit of everything. So the next major experience I had when I was 20, I was sleeping at my friend's house. He lived like, I don't know, 6 houses away. You know, we were playing video games, just hanging out, eating junk food. You know, he had like his room was like a basement, so he had like a bunch of couches and stuff. So, you know, just hung out, passed out, whatever. So I wake up in the middle of the night, and there's a full-figured, clear as day, detailed ghost just standing directly next to me, like a foot away, just staring at me. And so I'm like rubbing my eyes because I'm thinking I'm dreaming still. And I sit up, and I'm still rubbing my eyes, and it was a woman. She was clear as day. It's a full-figured ghost. She was slightly transparent, but all white and kind of glowing. And I was staring at this ghost like I stared at the aliens. It was just like a staring contest. It was the same thing. She didn't move. We're just staring at each other, and then she slowly vanished. So I wake my friend up. I'm like freaking out. I was like, dude, I just saw a ghost down here. And he's asking me what it looked like and whatever. So he walks away and comes back and brings me a picture of his aunt who hung herself in that house years ago. And I was like, bro, that is who I saw. And he's like, yeah, she hung herself upstairs in the spare bedroom. And I get goosebumps talking about this. But yeah, I seen her clear as day, and he showed me the picture of her, and I was like, that's exactly her. So this same friend the following year ended up taking his own life as well. After that happened, I felt somebody sitting on the corner of my bed while I would be sleeping, often for a couple years. Like, I would wake up to my legs rolling into the depression where someone's sitting in the mattress, and when I wake up, the mattress would like rise. So it would feel like someone's sitting in a corner of my bed and then getting up when I wake up. This happens so often that it was just normal part of my life. I wasn't scared of it. I assumed it could be him. You know, that happened for a couple years, and that went away. Actually, I'm sorry, I skipped something. So in between the abduction and that, there's a time where I was in home in my bedroom. watching TV or playing video games, something like that. And then a second later, I'm in my driveway in the middle of a conversation with my friend. Now, he's talking to me, but I cannot hear what he's saying. I just see his lips moving. And in my head, I'm like, how the F am I outside right now? How am I outside? I was just in my bedroom a second ago. Like a blink of an eye, I'm outside. And I'm just freaking out in my head. And he's talking, and slowly I can hear his voice. It starts coming, and eventually I can hear him talking normal. And I kind of just jumped into the conversation with him. And I think we walked down to his house to hang out or something, but that was super strange. It was like in an instant, I was in my bedroom in the middle of a conversation in my driveway and have no idea what happened in between. And I just kind of brushed it off and kept it moving, Didn't think too much of it, but that was something that was definitely strange.
Do you think that maybe you are implanted and they are kind of controlling situations like that? Have you ever thought about that?
I can only assume that I have an implant. As far as controlling situations and stuff, in the back of my mind, some situations I feel like decisions are being made not by me, if that makes sense.
Can you give us an example?
It could be something simple, like I want to go do something, and something's like telling me just like not to do it. It's like, let's say I wanted to go to do something, and like it's like I feel like sometimes I'm like physically held back of doing it. This is something that hasn't happened in a long time. I honestly can't think of anything specific, but I do remember having that feeling a few times of like I have a decision to make and I want to do one thing and I'm just incapable of doing it. Like it's like saying like you want to go run, but you're just standing there. You're trying to run, but you're stuck standing there. Like you want to do something, but you just can't do it. Something along them lines. But I can't think of anything specific off the top of my head right now. But some stuff like that hasn't happened in a while, as far as I know.
What about shadow people?
Oh my God. Yeah, I've had a handful of incidences with them. When I was 31, I was living with the woman I was telling you about keeping the bedroom door open or closed, same house. So I get home from work around like 4:30 in the afternoon. I go up to the second floor. There was a bedroom on each end of the hallway. So I go into the bedroom in the one end. I change my clothes. And then when I step out, I see straight down the hallway into the other bedroom. And there's a shadow figure standing over my bed with both arms out above my bed. Now, I used to call this a shadow figure, but recently I'm thinking it's something else because I saw the detail. It looked like a human. I saw a detail of hair, of clothing, like the outline, but everything was blacked out like a shadow person. And it turned its head and saw me, and the thing was freaking startled that it saw me. Like it turned around, his arms went up and froze. So this thing turns around and jumps onto the bedroom wall. And I'm like, where the heck did it go? All of a sudden, it's coming down the hallway on the wall towards me as a shadow running. And it's making a weird mechanical sound. The best way I described this before was in The Matrix when Neo takes the pill and you hear like the metallic stuff going down his throat. That sound it makes, that's the same sound it made. And it ran towards me on the wall as a shadow, but it would be in the running position, froze, and glide in a running position. Then it would switch its legs and arms, and then freeze again and glide in that position. So it was like, it was weird how it moved. It wasn't like a smooth running. It would be in a running motion and then glide a few feet and then switch its legs and arms into a different pose and then be stuck in that pose and glide a couple more feet and then switch it again. And it was making this mechanical sound. And like as it's coming towards me, it's getting louder. And it turned the corner and went down the wall along the stairs and just disappeared. And I ran out of my house, freaked out. And I ran out. I remember my neighbor across the street was like crossing the street to come see what I was doing when I ran out. He's like, what the hell's wrong with you? I was like, dude, I just saw something in my bedroom. Like, it was doing something above my head. It like freaked me out. So I always thought that I was a shadow person until recently. This year, I've been seeing and recording on video shadow people. I see it looking at me in my hallway. It'll pop its head out. You know, its head's kind of shaped like a light bulb. Is the best way I can describe it. The shoulders were like very broad. And I seen it in the corner of my eye. You know, I turn my head and it would disappear. So the next time it happened, I didn't turn my head to look at it. I just kept looking at it in my peripheral to get a real good look at it. Because I knew if I turned my head, it would disappear. And I watched it for like a minute, just looking around the corner, staring at me, like it was curious or something. That happened. I've seen the shadow person in my apartment with my own eyes 3 to 4 times. And there's twice I've captured it on my security camera. The one video I have off camera, you see a light appear, and the shadow person actually comes out of the light, hides behind my couch, and pops his head up and looks at my security camera and ducks back down.
No
and then
way.
the light disappears. Yeah, I have it on camera. And then I have another one on camera where it's aware of my cameras. I have security cameras in my apartment because originally I wanted to try to capture an abduction. That was my main goal. And that's how I stumbled into all these orbs and stuff. But yeah, I have 2 videos of shadow people. I've seen it this year about 3 or 4 times. So it's creepy to watch on camera.
I got a question from somebody who I really trust in this field. His name is Eugene Braxton. He's also in Philadelphia, I believe. And he is asking about your dreams. Okay? How active is your dream life? And have you ever flown or fallen in a dream?
My dreams are very, very active. They're almost like I'm living another life in my dream. But the stuff that goes on in my dream is so far-fetched that I know it's a dream. Like, I'm not like somewhere else, but my dreams are very, very detailed. I had the feeling of falling one time, and that was when I thought I had remote viewing. That was the only time I had the feeling of falling. I've only had a dream of an alien one time in my whole life, and that was recently. And
you had a dream about an alien.
Yes, one and only time in my whole life, and it wasn't the one I saw either. It was like, I don't know, 8 feet tall, real skinny. It didn't have a long chin, had no clothes, arms and legs were real long, and it was just lurking in the back of my dream the whole time, just lurking in the background. And I remember in my dream, it kept trying to get me, and the only way it wouldn't get me if I held my friend's hand. That was what happened in the dream. I was so scared in my dream that when I woke up, the feelings carried over. When I woke up, I couldn't shake it. I literally cried for like 3 hours straight, nonstop. I wasn't afraid when I was awake, but the fear I had in my dream just carried over. When I woke up, I could not shake it. My friend Ali from Alien Addict, we talked about doing a vlog about my life, and that dream was the first night I started my vlog. And I was a mess, dude. I just couldn't stop crying. I wasn't scared, but like just the feelings in the dream just carried over and would not leave me. And that was the only time in my life I ever had a dream of an alien in my dream. Even the times I was paranoid and fearful of my life, never had a dream of an alien ever.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. My friend, I got some questions from the audience here, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay. these shadow people, Persevere is asking, what if they are actually the aliens who abducted you? Have you thought about that?
I have. I mean, they could be anything. My belief is they're dimensional, and maybe they're not actually shadow people. That's just the way they visually look in our dimension, possibly, is my guess. But they could easily be aliens. Like the one I captured on camera was only a foot and a half tall. It ran across my living room, but once it got behind my couch, it was the size of a normal human, which I thought was pretty crazy. I mean, the possibilities of what a shadow person could be are endless, as far as I know.
All right. Next question comes from the United Kingdom from Andrew. Good morning, Andrew. He is asking, out of all the experiences you've had, have you ever had any visitation from people like the Men in Black?
I have not. And when I started doing this YouTube thing, I was a little concerned about that, to be honest with you. Because like I said, when I bought these security cameras, I was on a mission to capture an abduction. And I was prepared what to do if I did capture that footage. To this day, I have a backpack hanging on my door with chargers and, throwaway cell phones. Like, my one friend hyped me up about this because he's like, what are you going to do if you actually have aliens on cameras? And I was like, I don't know. I didn't even think of that. He was like, listen, man, if that happens, call me at this number. I'll give you whatever money you need, to do whatever you have to do. But that's where my mind was at that point. But I'm pretty confident you're not going to capture a full abduction on camera. I don't think that's how it works. But I tried.
Yeah, that seems to be between aliens and Bigfoot. They almost ruin cameras. Cameras. All right, let's get to Trust's question here in our chat room. Do you have military in your family?
My dad was in the Navy. As far as anybody else in my family, I'm not 100% sure. But my dad was in the Navy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because some military families seem to have those experiences as well. So I think that's why the question was asked regarding that. So, okay, moving on here as we wait for more questions from our audience if they want to join on our chat rooms or on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. For you, as you go on your mission to try and figure out what's going on, you're starting to notice things a little bit more as you've learned. You mentioned the scoop marks and everything. What other things have you mentioned that have been out of the ordinary?
That's happened to me, like physically?
Yes. Or even around your house.
Throughout the years, I would often wake up with like a sprained ankle or a sprained wrist or scratches on me or bruises. That was pretty common in my late teens, maybe up to like 23, 24. But once again, I never put two and two together. Like I remember a couple of times I'll call out of work. My boss would be like, how can you not walk when you were at work yesterday fine? I was like, I have no idea what happened to me while I was sleeping, but I can't literally walk out of my bed. I can't walk. Or like, my wrist will be sprained or I have weird bruises on me. But, not till recently did I start finding or remembering stuff like that and putting it together. That happened often. And nothing I thought about had anything to do with abduction until the scoop marks. That was the first time where I thought I could take a camera out and take a picture of them. So, yeah, like, a lot of sprained wrists, a lot of sprained ankles, like a lot of pain. I do work in construction, and I do work out, but I know the difference of working pain and lifting weights and like, I'm not going to walk around 100% running around and then the next morning have a sprained ankle overnight. That happened pretty often. And my boss will always say, like, he's like, what's wrong with you? What's going on with you? I don't know. And this same boss actually, I shared with him my first interview on Alien Addict, and he told me, he's like, your life makes so much more sense to me now that I've watched that interview, and I know all this stuff about you now. Because like, you're just like the weirdest person. Now everything just, all the pieces went together, and everything makes sense now. And he was like blown away. I was like, yeah, I've been trying to tell you guys, but you guys didn't want to listen. You know?
Are you a sleepwalker too?
No, but I do move my hands in a weird way, like I'm having a conversation with somebody while I'm sleeping. Like very animated, like my both hands are going in and out, like I'm doing weird gestures with my hands, like I'm actually talking to someone aggressively. I actually, when I look at my footage of me sleeping, I see that pretty often.
As you put your puzzle pieces together, and we got about 3 minutes here before we have to go to break at the top of the hour, what are you trying to find? What is your goal?
I don't think I'm really trying to find anything. I let the stuff just come as it does. My main goal, to be honest, is just to have somebody that's been going through what I've been going through hear me one time and maybe not feel alone, you know, or know that somebody else out there is going through the same thing they are. You know, not the feeling of being alone and not being able to talk to anybody. It's just a terrible thing, you know. I would like, you know, to be able to help people that's in my position, one way, shape, or form is my real goal. All this stuff of videotaping orbs and stuff, that's just coming as I go. Wasn't even an interest of mine. It just happened, you know. I'm just going with the flow. If I capture stuff, I share it. You know, I'm not actually searching for anything, because especially with the alien stuff, that's going to come full circle and present itself again at some point, you know. I believe that pretty strongly.
You think that you're not done with the experiences?
Not at all. Not even close.
What do you think? What do you think they're trying to teach you, if we could use that term?
Through everything I've gone through to this point, I believe they're trying. I feel like they're leaving me breadcrumbs, you know, like they're leaving me little hints. I think they want to communicate with me without me freaking out, is what I honestly think. You know, like there's so much stuff that's been happening this year, just like the remote viewing thing and the visions I'm having, and it's all leading up to like an event. Like I feel like they want to like you know, communicate with me again without me being so scared. When I put everything together, that's how I feel. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's definitely how I feel.
So, as we got about 45 seconds here, your goal is really trying to put your own puzzle pieces together while helping other people as well.
Yes. But I believe I might not be able to ever figure out what's going on. You know, we're dealing with stuff that's not meant to be known. You know, like the abduction. Aliens don't want us to know about abductions, I'm sure. You know, if everyone knew abductions were going on and it was proven, we might find a way to stop it somehow. You know, if it was a common thought that it was happening, doing it in the secrecy and staying hidden all the time is the only way. You know, whatever their alien program is, the only way that could function is in complete secrecy.
And on that note, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. A fantastic show so far with John Carty, otherwise known as Wreakin' Havoc 215 on his YouTube channel, which we highly suggest you subscribe to. We're going to learn more about his experiences, what he's doing about it, what's the plans for the future, what else has he experienced. We got John for another 30 minutes before we join Vancouver in the shift, the SOR Newswire, and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. All right, buddy, we're clear. I'm just going to
All right,
run
cool.
my dogs out. I'll be right back, okay?
All right, no problem.
It's a very dangerous wildlife from Space Out Radio Fest. It's American music and what's going on supernatural. You can head over to our website, music, all workshops, touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that we have. If you're listening to Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make the whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Chirp, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacey, spiritual support otherwise known as Pastor. We're glad to team up with Space Out Radio to help investigate your spiritual investigations. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings in the course of the past, looking for answers just like you. So fill out a sign language form at Space Out Radio, and let's figure out what's going on together.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spicing up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
The party is always on. Moose Bay Fever. The Moose Bay Fever is where you know you can visit Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly. The Moose brings up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in the area when the Moose is right here? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose. The official party ball is Spaced Out Radio.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beck.
All right, buddy, I'm back.
All right, cool.
This is a great show, dude. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'm glad to finally be on here. It's something I've been thinking about for months. Just had to wait for the right time, you know.
Oh, yeah. No, I fully appreciate that. And I'm just so thankful that you decided that this was a good place for you, man.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Like I said, love watching your show. It's just the fact of me being awake at midnight to watch it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no, I fully agree, and no, man, I'm very thankful that you opened up to us, and I know it's hard, and I know it's difficult, and I've been there, and sometimes it's hard to find the words.
Yeah. I've been pretty since I first did it. It's been pretty easy. This is something I never in my life would have thought I would be doing, talking about this. The only thing that sucks about it is reliving the emotions while talking about it. It's a little tough, but besides that, I have no problem doing it at all.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. That's cool. And I think you're going to have a bunch of new fans afterwards. That's for sure. I really do.
I definitely have 2 more experiences I'd like to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more we have.
We're going till the bottom of the hour here.
Oh, till 2:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. We got about 10 seconds. A big thank you to Vinster, TH, and Raz Grizz for the amazing super chats tonight. Thank you for everybody tuning in. Here we go. Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it wherever you are listening on in, especially those on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, KPNL, and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Quadrivium. Quadrivium is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce our guest, John Carty. He has a great YouTube channel called Wreakin' Havoc 215, and he is a lifelong experiencer trying to figure out what has happened to him. And this is one of those shows you're definitely wanting to go to and listen to the podcast or the replay of this on our YouTube channel. It is phenomenal. John, welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
Experiences. Shadow people, ghosts, aliens, UFOs. What's going on with you? Anything more?
Yeah, I have a taste of a little bit of everything besides Bigfoot, I think. There's one experience that I've never heard anybody else ever having that stumps me to what could be the cause. So I would say a year and a half ago, one night I was sleeping on my back and a drop of water hits me between my upper lip and my nose, and it wakes me up, and I wipe the water off my face. I go back to sleep. The second night I go to sleep, same thing. I'm laying on my back, a drop of water hits me between my nose and my upper lip. The splash of water wakes me up. I wipe the water off my face. Now I'm like, what the heck is going on? I work in construction. I can look up at a ceiling and tell within a second if it's leaking or not. I knew the ceiling was not leaking, but I still got a ladder and a flashlight and inspected every part of that ceiling. It was bone dry. Third night, same exact thing happens. A drop of water hits me between my upper lip and my nose. Same exact spot. Runs down my face. It wakes me up. Now I'm like, okay, something's happening that I can't explain. I rearranged my bedroom and moved my bed to the other side of the room. And this same thing happened 3 more nights in a row. of a drop of water hitting me between my upper lip and nose. And it would wake me up and open my eyes, and there would always be nothing there. It wasn't like a runny nose or nothing, because the feeling of the drop hitting me in my face would wake me up, and the water would run down my face. It wasn't like coming out of my nose or anything like that. I felt the sensation of it hit me, and that's what would wake me up. And I would wipe my face off as, water. Now, this happened 6 nights in a row and never happened again. And I have no idea where I can even begin to explain that. Now, I found one article that people say it's like a sleep condition where you have the sensation of feeling water hit you in your face while you're sleeping. But I was literally wiping the water off. Like, my hand would be wet, my face would be wet. Now, this happened 6 nights in a row, and I cannot. That's the one thing where I don't even have a place to start to figure that out. Have you ever heard of anything like that before?
I have heard of that. It was a few years ago, and it's almost like a paranormal experience where this is going to sound really woo, and I know Derek over on Twitter is going to love this. I'll probably get a Ric Flair meme for it. But there's a theory that it could be something that is happening from the paranormal or astral realm, where it's almost like an ectoplasm that is dropping on you when you're coming back, or they're coming to see you, whoever they are, whether it's ghosts or aliens. So it has happened. I have heard about it happening before. I could be completely wrong on that, but I have heard people break down that they have felt drips of water on their face before.
Yeah, but the thing that gets me is it kept hitting the exact same spot every time, And speaking of ectoplasm, I actually have a picture or two where I believe I have it on my hand. Usually for me, stuff happens within 1 or 2 weeks, and that's it, or it'll happen one time and that's it. And there's 4 or 5 days in a row where I'd wake up that looks like slime on my hands, and there'd be like a membrane encased in mucus on my finger, and it would be on the same finger every morning when I woke up. And I literally ripped my apartment apart and inspected everything that I would touch in my morning routine, and there was nothing in my apartment. Most people who know me know that I'm a clean freak, who watch my videos. I keep my place spotless, and I had pictures. It looks like some type of slime. And the thing was, I would wipe it off so fast when I would see it, I wouldn't think to take a picture or anything until like the 4th time. To me, it looked totally gross, but that might be some ectoplasm. But I did take a couple of pictures the last time it happened. That was totally strange too.
Is your apartment haunted? Would you call it haunted?
I've been taking footage for 6 months of all these orbs and activity. I would say my apartment is a paranormal highway. It only happens after I wake up, and maybe for the first 2 or 3 hours of the morning. It's the only time. But I've captured shadow people, orbs. I have pictures of orbs or videos of orbs that change into figures. I have a couple of pictures that look like ghosts, like alien spirits, like an alien gray. You can see the depth of the eye sockets. You can see the arms and everything. Some people could say it's pareidolia, but personally, I don't think it is. I have about maybe 4 pictures what I could describe as an alien spirit. I have pictures of faces, all sorts of stuff like that. I have a video one time recently of the sheet in my bedroom just moving by itself, like getting tugged on. Have it right on camera, And that's the one thing I like about what I got going on is I have footage of, almost everything, at least within the last 6 months that's been happening. So I don't want to say it's haunted. I want to say it's like a highway. for sure. Different things are going through here, and I really don't think they're aware of each other, and maybe not even aware of me. But there's definitely high activity over here. That's for sure, 100%.
Do you think that's caused by your building that you're in, or do you think that's caused by your history?
I think it's caused by where I'm living. But also, I didn't start recording until 6 months ago, so I wouldn't have known if this kind of stuff was going on prior. But my gut feeling is it's somehow I moved to a place where this is going on. Like on my computer right now, I have 30,000 files of the past 6 months of videos and pictures and all sorts of stuff. I've been collecting and saving. So I used to think it had something to do with me because, that's a pretty big coincidence, but I think it's just my apartment. But that's what I'm leaning towards at this point.
You got some serious ghosts there, man. Serious ghosts.
Yeah, it's fun. I like recording and I like looking through the footage, A lot of like the alien figures that I find in the orbs, I have to watch the videos at 1/10 speed. So the figures will only show themselves for 1/10 of a second. So I have to go through the footage in pretty slow motion to find anything. But it's rewarding. I have a huge folder full of stuff that, I think is great footage, and it's nice.
Do you ever plan on releasing that to the public so that way people like fans of our show would be able to look this up and see what's going on?
Oh, yeah, that's like the main purpose of my YouTube channel. I haven't done any interviews or anything like that. It's just a place that I can talk to people and share my footage. I have a bunch of stuff on there now. I have a few that are private that, anyone that asks for a picture or video of anything, I have no problem sharing. I went live a couple of days ago. Somebody new to my channel was like, hey, can I see them, shadow people videos? I'll pull them right up. I like as many eyes to see this stuff as possible because it's not doing any good just sitting on my hard drive.
Right. Well, I mean, what do you say to your critics who say, look, every night we have sleep paralysis. Every night we're dreaming. You might have just an overactive imagination. I mean, you're the one who is living with this, and you're the one who has to now kind of, if you want, take on the critics of your story. How do you do that?
To be honest, I really don't care about those people. It doesn't bother me one bit, Everybody has an opinion. And they're entitled to their opinion, but it doesn't bother me at all. I don't expect every single person to believe my story or stuff that's happened to me. It just doesn't work that way. It doesn't bother me at all. I have people around me that believe me and follow me, and that's all I care about. It's just this YouTube community and the people, like yourself and everybody else I talk to. That's all I care about anymore. I used to worry about what other people would think, but, I used to be that same person, though. I used to be the person who doesn't believe in, ghosts, and I see one, and I was that person, so I understand. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I'm not out here trying to convince people what happened. I'm just telling you what happened to me. Everyone can just take it from there.
You haven't had any Sasquatch experiences?
Not yet. Not yet, but I would like to.
You gonna go searching?
I would like to. I like to see what happens, I think if anyone has a good shot to see one, it would be me, considering all the other stuff I've seen. I lump Bigfoot and all this stuff all together. It's all like, I don't know. I think if you have the vision and you're aware and you can see, like, I think like when I saw the beings originally when I was 15, like kind of unlocked something. So I'm more aware to see things maybe some people can't. But that's my assumption. So I think if I went out there, I would have a good chance of seeing one if one's there.
I love this question from G Girl in our chat room for you. Do you feel like maybe you're subconsciously calling out this activity in some way?
No, definitely not. This is activity I, really do not want to partake in, but it's something I had to accept. Trust me, if I could live a life without any of this, I would be more than happy with that. I don't want to attract anything. I'm not looking to communicate with anything, but sometimes it's not up to us.
Have you ever done any meditation or any type of grounding to try and figure out why you?
I tried meditating, but from the fear of my abduction, I don't like keeping my eyes closed that long. I feel like it puts me in a vulnerable position, if that makes any sense. I've tried it, but I don't like keeping my eyes closed for too long. I feel like anything could be near me. I don't know. I'm not comfortable doing that.
Have you ever been to a psychologist or a counselor in trying to figure out what is going on?
Never. Nope. I'm not done that. You can't just go to a regular counselor and talk like this to them, even though it's their job. In the back of their mind, they could be like, this guy's, full of crap. I don't believe in aliens. He's in here telling me about this stuff. I might get judged a little bit. So I kind of don't see that as an option.
You've mentioned the word judgment a number of times tonight regarding your situations. Do you, even though you say at one point that you don't care what other people's opinions are, you know what you've experienced, do you worry about the judgment?
Well, the people I'm not worried about are the people in ufology. If anyone in ufology is gonna say my story's BS, I don't care about that. It's the everyday people. It's their judgment. The people who aren't into the subject, the people who don't know too much about this stuff. There's a lot of things you have to consider. If I try to talk to somebody and explain them an abductee, right? They would have to believe in a lot of things. They would have to believe aliens exist. They would have to believe they travel here. They would have to believe people are getting abducted. And then on top of all of that, they would have to believe I'm one of them people. So the judgment from the everyday person who's not really into this subject does concern me sometimes.
How come?
It's just the reaction you get. If someone, most people believe there's life out there. It's safe to say. But those same people might not be willing to go that extra length and believe they're even traveling here, let alone abducting people. It's tough. Like on YouTube, everybody understands. A lot of people have their own experiences. The judgment is not there because they already are into the subject. It's the people that are outside the subject that don't know much about anything about this is where the judgment comes in.
A lot of people listening to this will say afterwards that maybe you live in fear. Do you live in fear, or is that just a guard that you have?
No, I live in fear. It's nothing compared to a few years ago, but it's still there. I still don't sleep in my bedroom. I have a habit. If I'm on the couch watching TV, I'll glance over at my hallway every 10 to 15 minutes just to see maybe they're coming around the corner. That kind of stuff I can't get out of my head. That's just straight up fear. It's not as consuming as it was when I was younger. I kind of have it under control enough to be able to function a little better. But the fear is always there. I feel like I'm always waiting for an abduction to happen again or to see them, again. The fear is always there.
With that fear that you have regarding the potential of another abduction, do you think that maybe you are downplaying your current experiences and that you are a continuous abductee?
I believe I've been abducted many times. I 100% believe that. But at the same time, if that is the case, I'm happy I don't remember. It's the eye contact with them, man. It's looking them in the eye, being that close. And, anyone who's had experiences in any shape or form, paranormal or ETs, it happens in a split second. Out of nowhere, a drop of a dime is going down. That is what I'm scared of that, knowing that it can happen literally any second of any day. And I kind of wait for it. It sucks to have that feeling, but it's something I can't get out of me completely. Just the randomness that can happen. I could be like doing dishes and boom, it's going down. It can happen at any time. I have no control over nothing. I don't have a warning. I'm not getting a phone call saying they're on their way. It just happens. And that part is, scary for me.
Are you able to predict when it's going to happen, or is it still quite out of the blue?
I feel like I can predict it happens, but I never remember anything happening. So if something happens or not, I don't know. But I'll have I can be walking through my apartment and just freeze, and I'll be like, they're coming. The feeling goes through my whole body. Like I'm 100% confident they're on the way, and I won't go to sleep. I'll stay awake. I have a knife near me, and the sun will come up. And once the sun comes up, I'll calm down and go to sleep. But I've stayed up many, many, many nights fairly confident that I was about to get abducted again, waiting for it.
Many will say that that's almost living a life of paranoia. Do you feel you're paranoid with this, or do you feel you're just being cautious and true to yourself?
The feelings I have feel real. Like I really feel like something's going to happen when I have these strong feelings. Am I paranoid? Absolutely. I can hear the smallest thump at night and jump up, I still sleep with lights on. I sleep with my TV on. Yeah, I'm definitely paranoid. But, when I feel like they're coming is a real, true feeling. Like the feeling consumes my whole body. It's hard to explain exactly how it feels, but, I just immediately get on high alert and I'm ready to go. Like I know they're on their way. There's not a doubt in my mind. But when I feel that way, I don't think anything happens.
Really, eh?
It's not as bad as it was, but it's still. I don't think I'll ever completely get over it. But I'm happy I'm at where I'm at now, because like I said, 6 months ago, I did my first interview. I looked like crap, man. I looked completely beat down. I was completely pale. I had bags under my eyes. I was a mess. A lot of people who've seen that and see me now are like, you look like a completely different person, Like it affected me, like, physically.
Right.
Like, I look terrible.
Kind of leading to Corrance's question here, and we only got about a minute left. Do you ever see a time when you're going to be sleeping in your own bedroom again, or is the trauma still too fresh?
I tried a few weeks ago, and I made it 2 days, and I was back on the couch. It's just such an uneasy feeling being in a bedroom by myself. Now, if I'm in a relationship or, have someone over, no problem. I'm fine. It's just when I'm by myself, I just can't help. Like, I just do not want to be in there. Like, when I open my bedroom door, I open it, and then I pause, and I slowly walk in. Like, I'm real, with me, and I live in by myself, too. Like, it's going in my bedroom something that just, I do not like doing.
My friend, I want to say thank you so much, John, for sharing your story with us here on Spaced Out Radio. Absolutely incredible. And thank you so much for being brave and coming on the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I enjoyed it. Time flew by.
Yes, it did. John Carty, everybody. His YouTube channel is Wreakin' Havoc 215. Coming up next, we're going to join Vancouver with Shane in the Shift as we go across Canada, talking Conspiracy Theories. We'll be back. Great job, buddy.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Great job. You're on Facebook, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to look up my buddy, Eugene Braxton.
Okay.
Do you have a pen and paper?
Yes, 1 second. Okay, go ahead.
Eugene Braxton, Eugene.
Okay.
Braxton, Braxton.
Okay.
He's in our chat room tonight. Eugene is literally one of the most brilliant people I have ever had on this show regarding phenomenon. And he is a beautifully kept secret. But he's in Philadelphia as well. Okay? And if you need to chat with him or see if he can figure some of this out, his brilliant mind will probably be able to help you quite a bit.
Oh, awesome. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Look him up. Contact him. He knows you're going to be contacting him because I know he's listening in right now. But try Eugene out. I think Eugene could possibly get to some of the depth of these answers for you. He, like I said, I love the guy. I have a lot of admiration for him. And, he said he'd love to meet up with you.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be awesome.
All right, brother. I got to run here because Vancouver's going to be calling in any second here. But thank you so much for doing this, and we'll chat soon, okay?
Yeah, definitely, man. I appreciate it.
All right, John. Take care.
All right, thanks, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
How friggin' good was that show? Honestly. How friggin' good was that? That was absolutely incredible. Incredible. Hey, Vancouver, how you doing?
Mr. Dave Scott, Spaced Out Radio. How are you this evening?
Well, you scared the crap out of me because I had the volume up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
I should. Next time I won't shout so loud.
Yeah. How you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Yeah, looking forward as always to having you on the show. So, I hear we're going to be talking some interesting theories tonight.
Stupid conspiracy theories tonight.
Excellent. That's always some good fun. Always some, it's very.
I know.
It's always very illuminating what people will believe.
I know, but the good one I want to talk about, Ryan said we're not allowed to talk about. So.
Oh.
Yeah. Because
which one is that?
Well, the tinfoil conspiracy theorists are going on this push right now that there are 250,000 Chinese troops hiding on the Canadian and Mexican side of the borders to invade the United States. I mean, never mind the fact that NATO and NORAD would have probably picked that up,
Yeah.
But because it's I don't think he really read into it. I think he saw the political side of it and kind of went like, nope, we're not going there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're covering like a bunch of political stuff tonight too,
Yeah.
so maybe that was the decision. Okay, sounds good. All right, we're coming back in about a minute, but we'll join you at the usual time there.
Yep, not a problem, buddy.
Okay, sounds good, Dave. Thanks.
All right, man. All right. I'm really happy with John, man. I think him coming on the show, I think it was uplifting for him. I really do. And my man Eugene's going to take good care of John, and I appreciate you, Eugene. You know that. And go from there. Exactly, Corn's the booking guy. It's not 250,001. Your mathematics are wrong. We're going for another 30 minutes on the show, Raz. And then we are going to, what am I looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? We're going to go into the post show where we go into editing and we just kind of hang around. While I edit, you guys could chat away. Thanks, Cedric. All right, where are we here? Rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to remind you that you can find all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Now, it's that time of the week once again where we head over to Vancouver, head over to the Shift, where a guy with a fantastic beard, Corey, Corey's my booking guy. He's got a great beard and mustache going. But Shane at the Shift, how are you, my friend? How's your beard?
Hey.
How's your beard?
I'm good. I'm good there, Billy. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. This is my middle name, so you didn't really get that wrong.
Oh, really? How about that for synchronicity, hey?
You're psychic.
We're all plugged in, man. It's Good News Tuesday here on the show, and so we'd like to share some good news. Do you have some good news that's gone on in your life today there, Dave Scott?
Today. Good news today. Can I steal one from yesterday?
Well, fair enough.
All right. I had a good phone conversation with the former head of the ATIP program, a gentleman named Luis Elizondo, and I could tell you this. We booked him for the show. We're going to bring him on to talk some UFOs and aliens. This is a guy who I think, personally, he is the first ever man in black to come out publicly. I'm excited about it.
Oh,
I'm pumped up.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing that. We are going into the world of the holy moly in our conversation today, Dave. We've got aliens, Illuminati, royal lizards, and more. What's happening?
Well, you know what? Here's the thing, and for anybody who takes the field that we do seriously, we always know that we're going to be treated with that tinfoil hat stigma, that uneducated stigma, because of some of the most ridiculous and far outlandish conspiracy theories out there that really have nothing to associate with. Because according to some people out there, and I'm not going to give them credence by telling the names. Anybody who wants to Google it can find it. The silliness of some of these conspiracy theories is horrific. And the problem is, there are some conspiracy theories out there that have become very true. Example, UFOs. Nobody thought the Pentagon was looking out for UFOs. We find out they've been doing it for 70 years over the last couple of years. And a lot of people were shocked by that. That the conspiracy theorists finally got one right. But there are the ridiculous ones out there that really harm what we do, and I thought we would chat a little bit about them. Namely, let's start off with this one. This is one of my favorites. The Queen of England, the head of our monarchy, is only the age that she is because she is a reptilian who feeds off of virgin children's blood. And that's why so many children go missing every year. Because they're there to feed the queen. Horrible. Horrible. Wow. I don't even know what kind of imagination you have to make up something like that.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, the lizard part, I thought, strange family. If you look at the family history of the royal family, I mean, there's certainly some strange things that have gone on. So the lizard part, I'm like, maybe, but the rest of it. So I guess it's the damage, right? I mean, when those stories, people try to push those stories,
Absolutely.
It does damage on the real royal lizards in the world.
Well, I started thinking about this because Queen Elizabeth and my grandmother are pretty much the same age, both in their 90s. Okay, and I started wondering, is my grandmother a reptilian because she's 92 years old and, going to be 93 here on January 22nd? And is she a reptilian because, according to some of these far-out conspiracy experts, that you can't get that age unless you're, a reptilian alien feeding off of children and people? I don't know. Now I'm worried about my grandmother. God bless her for turning 93 here soon, but I'm worried about her. She may be a reptilian. I didn't know they were. I didn't know they were growing reptilians in Alberta back then.
So these things are crazy. They are way far out there. I mean, the royal family alone, you can find a long list of a real long list of conspiracy theories wrapped around them. Like the list goes on and on and on and on and on. In fact. Like, for example, that Kate used a surrogate for a second baby, right?
Yes.
That's another one that's out there. Maybe it's true. I don't know. Maybe she did. Good for her. If she did, I think that's pretty much her business. But, do you think it's the royals that attract it? Is it the easy topic of the royals, or is it the...
It's everybody in the Illuminati, the Bilderbergers, all of these fancy billionaire club groups out there. They're all reptilian blood, and they're all out there to take over the planet, and that's why we're starting to get repressed freedoms, because the lizard people are taking over. This reminds me of the 1980s when the series V first came out.
Oh, I remember that show.
Yeah, got to watch that again.
Good show.
That was good.
That was a show. I bet you it's way less cool all these years later, but it was a cool show back then.
Oh, for sure. Now, look, there's always we should say this. There's always somebody out there who is looking for press, whether it's good or whether it's bad. And the conspiracy theory aspect of it, some of it just ruins it for a lot of people. We could be a lot farther ahead in finding out a lot more about this phenomena if it wasn't for the wingnuttery that goes on. I don't know if that's a word, but we're going to use it. The wingnuttery that goes on in this field. I mean, there's a lot of people right now. One that's gaining a lot of steam is Flat Earth. Now, I don't buy it. I believe that we are on more than just a pancake that's surrounded by ice, and that we have satellites and stars and the moon and the sun. It's incredible, some of these theories that are out there, and it's dangerous and damaging because, these people who are flat earthers out there, God bless them, they're doing a lot of interesting work, maybe wasting some time, but no matter what you show them, they can never answer this one question. What's the purpose? And their answer is, it's controlling society. So for, the last 500 years, we have been trying to control society by letting them believe that the earth is round.
So let's touch on a couple of things there, because I think there's a pattern when you look at this. And I have prepared a list of the 5 weirdest royal conspiracy theories,
Sure.
and I want to tie it to your moon thing.
Okay.
So they're excusing the fact that the queen is a lizard and eats children is just weird. But if you look at all of these, this list of the top 5, which, by the way, number 5 is the royals are alien lizards.
Yes.
That would be one of them, which doesn't even make sense because they marry normal people, right? So there's that. Princess Margaret has a secret love child. That's a conspiracy theory. There are elements of the life where Princess Margaret was absent. So maybe, could be, Prince Charles is really a vampire. Maybe some genealogy research says that there's some history that gets all the way back that might connect things there. So that's weird. There's the surrogate baby, plus the Princess Diana was murdered by the royal family. These are all things where people, I think, are looking for something more or trying to find something, right? And there's a little bit of a truth in the story, and then it goes and it gets turned. Same thing with the flat Earth thing. The flat Earthers ask a very good question. They say, have you ever seen the Earth from above? And then you'll say, well, I've seen pictures. They okay, so you've never seen it. You've just been told that the Earth is round. See, and that's a very valid cognitive thinking tool, is to challenge the things you get heard, right? To challenge it and say, well, wait a second, did Dave tell me that the Earth is round, or have I seen it for myself? Well, then they quite often will say, well, there are no pictures of the entire Earth in one picture. There's only stitched together photos, blah, 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 and then that's okay. So there's an air of truth to it, and I like the flat Earth challenge of, hey, did somebody tell me that, or have I seen it for myself? I think we can apply that to our daily lives. This just takes a very good cognitive thinking tool to a whole nother level of convenient evidence that isn't really evidence.
Well, one of the interesting ones that makes me think about the flat Earth, even though I'm a round earther. That's what we are. We're round earthers, by the way. And
I think we're just called earthers, buddy. But
round earthers, yeah. But one of the ones that I find on the argument that is funny is you get some flat earthers who don't believe that Australia exists, number one. And number two, if they do believe in Australia and the Earth is round, and this even goes right into South America. If you're at the bottom of the Earth, how come you don't take away gravity, the argument of gravity? If you're on a round Earth and you're at the bottom of the Earth, how come you're not falling off or walking upside down? These are some of the arguments we have, right? Well, the theory is, according to scientists, outside of Earth, there is no up, there is no down, so you're always right side up. But how does that work on a round planet? I don't know. Yeah. It does on a flat one, but that's one of their arguments.
Right? It's cool. So this is a good piece to lean into, the real paranormal investigations, the real UFO investigations, when people are looking for, are we getting visited by machines or craft from another planet, that there are paranormal energy things that are legitimate investigations that go on in and around the world. So how do we take critical thinking that is productive and apply it, and how does that type of research that is legitimate, how does that type of research not get eroded by these stories?
Well, the problem is the mainstream public throws them all in the same hat. So, for instance, for years, as we've said on this program before, many people who claim to have seen UFOs or aliens or had interaction, were all considered, minimum wage, uneducated people who were looking for a moment in the spotlight or 5 minutes of fame with some outlandish type claims. And whether or not you want to believe that's pretty much truthful on that mark. And what we're seeing here, Shane, is we're seeing the mainstream people not being able to segregate something from flat Earth or inner Earth, where apparently dinosaurs and all sorts of weird monsters and aliens are living, comparatively to something where it is logical to think that there are more advanced beings out there in somewhere hiding in outer space that are coming to visit Earth. And that's what a lot of scholars like Harvard professor Avi Loeb are looking into these days. So we have to be able to separate UFOs from flat Earth or ghosts from the Queen being a reptilian. We have to be able to separate each genre, which we don't do on the mainstream, because it's easy to throw them all in a paper bag and say, we just got to light these fools on fire because we don't need them on this planet. They're dangerous.
So how do we turn that around when we have, legitimate things that are happening here? I mean, it seems to me that what we've seen in evidence is politics, everything else that sort of declare it to be true on the internet, and all of a sudden people believe it to be true. Inside politics is a huge one. So how is it possible that this can turn around and this can become a thing? Because it could be a human problem and the way people listen, but at the same time, Dave, to your point, it's always like Mama Jones in a moo-moo who ends up being the one who saw the UFO, right? Like, there's not a lot of public push on, proper researchers that are presenting scientific research into the public about these kinds of things.
I was talking to a source in Ottawa about Bigfoot about 7-8 days ago. And we were talking about some other stuff, but he asked me some questions regarding Bigfoot. And he asked me, he goes, Dave, why do you think that the mainstream public does not believe in Bigfoot? I said, because it hasn't been proven. We don't know what it is. He goes, what do you think would happen if all of a sudden we found out Sasquatch is real? Here's the problem. The first thing that happens anywhere in North America is the area where the creature is found is now a dead zone. It's a dead zone for mining, which brings in millions of dollars. It's a dead zone for forestry. It's a dead zone for hunting, for camping. Not allowed in there. Why? Because when a new creature or a nearly extinct creature is found in an area, immediately that area is cordoned off for government study because they have to find the migration patterns, where the creature is living, what are they feeding on, how do we protect them. There's a lot of money that goes into finding this area, and that study could take years, which means that, all the blue-collar workers or the people who live off of that field are going to lose an entire zone of being able to log or mine or fish or hunt or camp, whatever it may be. And there is a real economic danger to a lot of these things. And to me, that's probably the big reason why, some of these creatures or some of these aliens are not proven to existence. I mean, with aliens, it's different. You got a military-industrial complex that really relies on new technology. Who gets all the new toys first? It's the military. It's not you or me. It's the military. Fiber optics. Titanium. They all get the good toys first. Then it finally spells down into what we have years later.
Yeah. Well, it's a valid point. It's interesting. I can't decide if this is a us thing and me being like a non-paranormal researcher guy thing or the control. I don't know, man. There's so many different ways to go. But we're out of time. Space.radio.com, by the way. I'll promote Dave's stuff for him on the show because that's where you can go and listen to all these things from Dave in the world of the woo. Thanks, buddy, for being in here. I think it's we always need to look at why. Like lack of the trucker, Dan said this message says, lack of evidence is not proof of itself. And I think that we need to keep that in mind always in our critical thinking. Thanks so much, Dave.
Anytime. We'll talk to you next week, my friend. Take care. Let's get to the news, shall we? Is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire, the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the law-breaking. Law-breaking. A woman in Egypt was briefly detained after being accused of baking indecent cupcakes. The cupcakes, topped with genitalia and underwear fashioned out of a fondant icing, were eaten at a birthday party at an exclusive Cairo sports club. The baker was arrested and later released on $319 bail. There are reports that the party-goers may now face legal action as well. A top religious body warned that such baked goods were forbidden by Islam. On Facebook, it said, the products featuring sexual representations were an assault on the value system and a crude abuse of society. The Ministry of Youth and Sports is reportedly looking into the involvement of the club that hosted the private gathering. Holy cow. Holy cow. Be careful what you bake in Egypt. A British man said he spent about $400 to have a veterinarian examine his dog's limp. But it turned out The canine was just imitating his owner, who had a broken ankle. Russell Jones said he noticed after his ankle was broken that his dog Billy was keeping one of his paws raised while walking. Jones posted a video on Facebook showing the dog hopping next to him as he walks with the use of crutches. Jones said he spent $400 to have veterinarians examine Billy to take x-rays of his apparently injured leg, but the medical professional was unable to find anything wrong. Veterinarian told Jones his dog was imitating the way he walks with his broken ankle, all because he loves his owner. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. What's the importance of experiencers of the unknown coming forward and telling their stories? Linda, comparing notes isn't the phrase I would use. Each individual experience is important, especially since there could be different stories, different agendas. We need a bigger view without judgment. Alex, it's only important if we are able to use those to further our knowledge base, but more importantly towards tangible research. Otherwise, it's just stories. Canadian Joe, if enough people come forward, there's less of a chance of the experiences being seen as a hoax. Also, it may help in removing the stigma associated with admitting them. Jeff, it depends on what the goal is. I think the answer is yes for some goals, and it might be no for others. As the cliche goes, it's complicated. John, huge. We need to compare notes. Those small different parts of the jigsaw puzzle need to come together. It could add up to the bigger picture. Another John, because the true key to disclosure is empathy. It's only through sharing personal experiences that empathy will begin to grow. So the stories told raw are key to everything. Twin Brew, it shows the ability to build and to help others come forward. We continue on. Uriah gets the final word, looking at all the potty humor we've missed out on if Whitley had stayed silent. Thank you to everybody in the Thought of the Day. Thank you to Captain Shirk for the news, to Shane at the shift, and to John Carty for telling his amazing story. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Everyone in our chat rooms tonight on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Rev Radio, and of course the Snarkers hanging out at hashtag Spaced Out Radio on Twitter. You guys were all fantastic tonight. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but tomorrow, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night.